Yeah.
I've asked Allison Alejos to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this morning.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the July 7th, 2014 meeting of the Shawnee County Commission. My name is Bob Archer. I currently serve as chair of the commission and represent District 3, alongside Commissioner Kevin Cook, who serves as vice chair and represents District 2, and Commissioner Shelley Bueller, who represents District 1. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First item on the agenda, please.
First item is item 3, consent agenda.
I have no questions regarding consent agenda. I move for the approval.
I'll second.
Motion made to approve the consent agenda as presented by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
There are no vouchers this morning, Commissioners.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next item, please.
Sorry about that. I knew that. Give me a day off. And how about item B?
Item B.
Because there are no correction orders either.
Oh, all right. Item B, please.
Audit Finance number 1, consider approval of request to establish, advertise, and fill an accounting associate position.
Good morning, Betty Griner, Financial Administrator. I'm here to request that, as she said, we establish, advertise, and fill an accounting associate position. To give you a little background, in December of last year, I had to lay off an employee because of our budget cuts for this year. And then recently I lost my intermittent employee because she had to take a full-time job. So what we did is we took this opportunity to really analyze the whole department, the needs of the department, and how we thought it was best organized. And in that process, we decided that we thought it would be best to replace this higher paid intermittent position with a lower paid full-time employee and try to reorganize the duties and to try to really, this will give us a more balanced department as far as experience and skills. We feel like this is just the most effective use of our payroll dollars. And that, you know, is always the goal, is getting the most effective use of our dollars. And that's what we think this position will do. It, as usual, there will be a step increase after 120 days. So that is the amount that I have used to estimate the annual cost. The annual cost, including benefits, is anticipated to be $46,189. So I ask for your approval.
And this is in keeping with your 2014 budget.
Yes, it is.
And I did notice in your budget request for 2015, I think it's a little bit less than what we actually budgeted for 2014. So
That's
I think
correct.
that's important to notice. I'll make a motion to approve the request as submitted. Or were there additional questions or comments?
No,
I
you
have
answered
none.
the questions I had.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Archer to approve the request, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Betty.
Thanks, Betty.
Next item.
Item C, Emergency Management. Number 1, consider approval of request to submit grant application through the Kansas Division of Emergency Management for approximately $93,000 to provide funding for salaries of the Deputy Director and Operations Assistant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dave Sturbins, Emergency Management. This is just more of the grant funding that makes our department possible. We are one of the 5 counties in Kansas that receive additional monies for the emergency management planning grants. So this is just the annual renewal of that for money starting in 2015. Be glad to answer any questions.
Commissioners, questions or comments?
Not that I have any questions.
Do we, after we submit a grant and get the money, is there a follow-up by the grantor that looks at to make sure that we are in compliance with what we said we would do?
Oh, absolutely. We have to send in quarterly reports and paperwork to keep us in compliance, especially with this grant. We have to show what their salaries and benefits and everything that they've done every single quarter. And so Scott Garcia fills those out, and we send those in. And again, if they're not up to date, you don't get your money.
Okay, and I think it's important that the public knows that we just don't ask for grant money and then not follow up and perform the way we're supposed to perform.
Right.
So Commissioner
I
Bueller?
just didn't, so Dave, these dollars flow from where to us?
These are federal dollars, and then they come down through the Adjutant General's office to the Kansas Department of Emergency Management, and then from there they come to Shawnee County. And all counties in Kansas are eligible, but there's 5 counties that get additional money that pretty much pays for most of the deputy director's salary. And it's used the same way in those other counties for salaries.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve the request by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Next item.
Item D, corrections. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C 263-2014 with Swank Motion Pictures, Inc., authorizing the Department of Corrections to show video presentations to inmates and juveniles without violating the individual or home performance licensing restrictions of video cassettes and DVDs at a cost of $1,738.25, payable through the offender commissary account.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Department of Corrections. This is an annual renewal of a contract that we've had with this company that allows us to stay in compliance with licensing when it comes to showing videos for programs, education for the inmates. The cost of this is approximately, it is $1,738.25, which is paid out of the inmate commissary fund, which those funds are set aside for the benefit of the inmates. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there questions or comments for Mr. Cole?
Commissioner, just important to designate that this is not general fund tax dollars that goes towards this.
That is correct.
Yeah, Commissioner Bueller.
And these are presentations that are controlled by staff?
Yes,
then?
our program staff, they give us a book on what videos and cassettes or whatever we have we can show. We control all of that through our program staff.
Thank you. Move approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider approval of request for emergency purchase for repair of a generator at the Adult Detention Center at a cost of $8,867.27.
Good morning again, Brian Cole, Department of Corrections. Last month we had due to severe weather, we had a malfunction to our generator that did not allow it to switch over to the generator. When the power went out, the generator should kick on immediately, and it did not. We were able to find out and get everybody in that day to find out exactly what had happened. Realized that this is a generator that was the original one from 1988. The switches and all of the equipment that were attached to this generator were the original. The switch and a couple other areas needed to be replaced. It took us some time to get the estimates in here as far as when we got them in to get all the costs. I had some staff on annual leave, so I apologize for this being this late getting it on the agenda. But I have no excuse for that other than we had some staff that were on annual leave and we couldn't get the cost updated. I did speak with Betty regarding this contract or this purchase immediately upon the. I believe this happened over the weekend back then, and so the next business day I got with Betty and we discussed, and we both felt this was appropriate for emergency pay. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Questions or comments for Mr. Cole?
Just June 7th was a Saturday, and just as you indicated. I would move for approval of the emergency purchase.
I'll second and note that this is out of the capital outlay fund
Yes.
as well.
Thank you. Motion made by Commissioner Cook to approve the request for the emergency purchase, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor say aye. Opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D3, consider approval of request for purchase and installation of 2 rooftop HVAC units, one on the adult detention center roof and one on the juvenile detention center roof, at a cost of $277,109.
Good morning again. I guess this is corrections day. We have, part of our strategic plan that we've been working closely with Betty on included the evaluation and inspection of all of our HVAC systems that are on both the adult and the juvenile correction side. Part of our strategic plan was to replace 2 each year. We did replace 2 last year, and this year we're looking at replacing 2 more. We had the company come back in to evaluate which ones were the highest priority, and it was determined by the company that one of the HVAC systems on the adult side and one on the juvenile side are the ones that needed replaced. Back in, when we received approval to go back and look at all of ours, you approved that we were allowed to look at all of the HVAC systems, and they gave us a price. We initially thought it was going to be close to $250,000, but the price, it will be a set price. It came closer to $277,000. Again, we worked very closely with Betty, and this money would come out of, I believe, the capital outlay again. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Are there questions or comments?
Just noting that this is within the capital outlay, it is within the budgetary amount we had looked at for our capital outlay. It does need to be replaced. It has a need that is mission critical for the department. I would move for approval.
And I'll second. Did you have a question? I'm
Well, no,
sorry.
I just wanted to note too, did you mention, Brian, that the agreement with McElroy's, that's who the purchase is through,
Yes,
correct?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it is local.
Yes,
Yeah,
and it is,
right.
Which
yes.
is, yep. Why did you bring that up,
No.
guys? Yeah, we always try to do business.
It is local.
Yes.
Motion made to approve the purchase by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Archer. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item E, Health Agency. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of Contract C 264-2014 with Washburn University Department of Social Work for student placement at the Health Agency to fulfill the student's field work experience at no cost to the county.
Morning, Commissioners. Allison Alejos, Health Agency. This is a contract that we would like to get in place with Washburn University so that we could provide clinical placement for their social work students. As Ms. Beck indicated, there's no cost to the county for this.
I'll move
Questions?
approval of the contract.
Anytime we can partner with our local university, I'm glad to do so. Second.
Absolutely. Motion made to approve the contract by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries 3-0. Next item, please. Thank you, Allison.
Item E2, consider approval of grant application for Health Resources Service Administration supplemental funding in the amount of $201,408 for medical services expansion for the Community Health Center.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alice Weingartner, Health Agency. Community health centers across the country were notified by HRSA in June that we were eligible for supplemental funding for the purposes of expanding medical care. The Shawnee County Health Agency Community Health Center has been allocated $201,408. We put together an application and submitted it for that purpose. The intent of this funding would be to hire a medical provider, mid-level, and the support staff for it. It would be a budget neutral hiring because of funds that are raised through reimbursement would cover any additional expenses. The other thing that's very timely with this particular supplemental funding amount is that it is in line with the safety net report and the need for us to expand medical services. So I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Questions or comments for Alice?
I have none.
I don't have any opposition to this, but I think that it's always important when we look at these grant applications that cover employees that the grant application may be here today, but may not be here tomorrow. And when we hire on those employees, those become the obligation of the county after the grant expires. And so we always have to look down the road long-term. But this is in keeping with the Health Net report, and it is in keeping with the department's needs. And so I think that it's proper at this time, but I think it's important for all department heads to remember that. Just because a grant application covers the expenses today, we may be obligated by the county tomorrow.
And the intent, Commissioner Cook, just to respond to that, would be that we would continue to generate the revenues to cover that staff. There is also discussion, if funding continues for the community health centers, that this would become part of our base award. So it would be an addition to that full base award too. So just to know there's hopefully some additional support there.
Was it a motion by?
I don't think either of us.
I'm still waiting.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Did you second?
Yes, second,
Commissioner?
yes.
All right. Motion made to approve the grant application by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Bueller. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say no. And motion carries 3-0.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you,
Simpson.
Alice. Next item, please.
Item F, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider out-of-state travel for an employee to attend the U.S. Paralympics and the Department of Veterans Affairs Sitting Volleyball Summit at a total cost estimated to be less than $750.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Knight, Parks and Recreation. This is a request for out-of-state travel for one of our employees to travel to Edmond, Oklahoma to participate in the Paralympics training. We, as you recall, back in first part of May, we became a Paralympic sport site, which will help not only benefit Topeka and Shawnee County, but it also draw in participants from all across the Midwest to different sporting events and those type of things. With this being said, this kind of came up on us kind of quick. That we just joined the club in May. It is a core programming function of Parks and Recreation. Something that you may not know, per capita, Shawnee County Parks and Rec and the participants in our adaptive rec program are much higher than they are across most communities around the county. I don't know if that's because we're a capital city, what those are, or if we just got a really good program. I'll opt for the second one. But this is a great growing program and also something that'll bring in additional dollars to the community, hopefully, eventually. Be happy to answer any other questions you may have.
And there's a direct link with this opportunity and the strategic plan that we just completed.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about that, John.
Well, the direct link to the strategic plan is not only putting the department in a position where it can begin to provide economic benefit for both Topeka and Shawnee County. A lot of the participants in this Paralympic Sports Club will come to Topeka, stay overnight, just like some of the other events that we hold for non-Paralympic ones. But also, there are some key parts in there in that the adaptive program is a huge program, like I mentioned before. Be happy to answer any other questions you may
Okay,
have.
thank you, John. Are there other questions for Mr. Knight?
I have no approval.
Second.
Motion made to approve the out-of-state travel by Commissioner Bueller and seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye, opposed say no. Motion carries 3.
Of course,
to
staff
0.
will again follow up with a report on
Trip
what they
report.
learned at that and bring that
Exactly.
back to the commission.
Exactly. Thank you, John. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 5, Administrative Communications.
Administrative Communications.
Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. You probably read or saw on WIBW, starting tonight and for the next 3 Monday nights, the Kansas DMV is going to have Monday nights at the DMV to help primarily with new teenage drivers and answering their questions, though they are open to all of business. They'll do testing up till 8 o'clock. We do not do driver's license in the county treasurer's office, though many people believe we do. We get a lot of questions about that. I did note that on WIBW, their little picture that they showed actually was a picture of the annex So I would hope that they would correct that so that we don't have folks showing up at our annex tonight for that. But I would encourage folks to be aware of that. It is a great opportunity to get your questions answered, and I'll give them a little PR. I encourage folks that need to do that business with the DMV to go out there on Monday nights. I will not be there tonight. I'm going to wait and see how big the crowd is, but if it's a large enough crowd to justify spending 4 hours of my personal time on Monday nights, I will be there on the 14th and 21st to answer any questions that people might have as it relates to titling and registering vehicles, because driver's license and titling vehicles seem to go hand in hand. And we have a lot of questions, so that'd be a great opportunity for me to be available to answer those questions. I will not have any staff with me because I don't have any money to pay that staff, but I will be there personally, and I would encourage folks to come out.
Okay. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Other administrative communications? John, don't you want to tell us about Spirit of Kansas and what a great success it was? Or Randy Libby? Even better.
Randy Libby, Parks and Recreation. I was out of town most of last week, but I did get back in time for the show. And I thought it was one of the best fireworks shows we've had. The on-the-water displays were a little different. I don't know if any of you were there, but like you saw on the shoreline, they had the water lit up, looked like with floatable lights of some sort. I don't know how they did it, but it was really red, white, and blue. It was totally awesome. I give thanks again to Capital Federal, WIBW, Country Legends. I don't have all the details of the craft show and all that, and I'd be happy to report that to you on Thursday if you'd like. But I haven't heard any problems that took place. I just know we had a lot of compliments.
Well, the only thing I would like to add was this year we did have some specific challenges, and I'd like to express our thanks to the City of Topeka Police Department and the Shawnee County Sheriffs. We had several roads that were under construction, and it made the entry and exit a lot more complicated this year, but they handled it terrifically, and from last I heard of getting very little or no concerns from the public. So thank you to that group as well.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on my main boss. My wife got home in record time, so she said whatever they did it well. So thank you.
But the attendance records, the memo that you sent us pretty late on Friday, I mean,
Yeah, Sean did that.
yes,
So,
yeah, it was great. It was a beautiful day.
yeah. It was a great day,
It was
actually.
Yeah, it was, and I think it's always important to thank our partners that we
Oh my
work
gosh,
with.
yes.
And I appreciate John and Randy doing that, and that will springboard success for next year and the years after.
It's a great location for
so
our fireworks.
It absolutely is.
Thank you.
Absolutely is. Thank you. Any other administrative communications?
Commissioner,
Yes, Commissioner Cook.
we have no meeting on Thursday, just as a reminder.
That is correct. No meeting this Thursday. Commissioner Bueller?
Nothing.
We have a Board of Health meeting coming up, and if there's not an objection, can we schedule that to begin at 10 o'clock?
No objection.
Okay.
No objection.
Next item on the agenda, please.
Item 6, executive session.
I don't believe there's a need, so we're adjourned.